Hello everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. I am battling the flu right now, so bear with me, but we are going to be looking at some extreme heat and humidity that builds behind the remnants of Beryl as we go into later this week, but especially this weekend and into the early part of next week. We're going to be diving into that here and looking at the potential for significant severe weather to return to parts of the United States as we go into this upcoming weekend and early next week. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to give the video a like down below, a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video. So here is the GOES IR satellite here. This is the infrared satellite imagery. You do see the remnants of Beryl up here across the Great Lakes region and into southeastern Canada. Most of the moisture has cleared the eastern part of the United States. However, we did yesterday have another area of tornadoes across portions of the middle of the country. 3 tornado reports across portions of the Ohio River Valley. And I think with more storm surveys, we're going to probably see this number grow over the next couple of days. Another formidable tornado risk as we go into this afternoon and this evening across portions of New York State especially, but all around here portions of the Northeast. So if you live between Albany and Buffalo, New York, you have a 10% chance of a tornado today, and this is actually a pretty high chance for the Northeast. You don't see a lot of these 10% chance of tornadoes up here very often. Over here to the Concord region, back down toward Albany itself, we do have that potential of a 5% chance of a tornado, 5% chance of a tornado back in Buffalo, and then down into the Hartford, Boston region, Portland there into Maine, all the way back down into the Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. That is a 2% chance of a tornado. So let's look at this afternoon. We do have those showers and storms continuing mainly across interior New England, but those pop-up storms, if they do get going, they could start to rotate there across especially central New York State. That'll continue as we go into the evening, and also very heavy moisture with this system still, even though it is post-tropical. I do think we could see some pretty heavy rainfall rates, 1 to 3 inches per hour here across the Northeast, and this will continue until we get to after midnight into the Thursday morning time frame here as you're headed off to work or anything like that as you go into early Thursday morning. Some of that will become more few and far between, but looking at more very heavy rainfall accumulation across the Great Lakes region and into interior New England from Michigan all the way over here through especially upstate New York, central New York, getting into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. These areas of an additional 1 to 3, perhaps isolated 4 to 5 inch totals going through your Thursday morning commute there. And this is leading to that slight to even moderate risk for flash flooding up here across especially upstate New York, Vermont, and parts of New Hampshire as we go through your Thursday morning time frame. And just to recap, the slight risk is a scattered flash flooding risk. A moderate risk for flash flooding means numerous flash floods are likely, some of which could be pretty significant and lead to more flooding on larger rivers, in fact, as well. So make sure to watch out for any flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. Never drive on a flooded roadway. Looking here at the tropics, the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida is investigating an area here near the Carolina coast and off the southeast coast. A very low, mediocre 10% chance of anything developing here. I really don't see anything significant here, just a lot of subsidence, so a lot of thunderstorm activity that got pops up and then really doesn't sustain itself. So I'm not too worried about that. Looking at the Eastern Pacific side, right now it is actually pretty quiet as well over at least the next week. So that is some good news. And looking here at the long range, the experts over there at the Climate Prediction Center look at the long range here and show you the favorability of any tropical systems. The Eastern Pacific may start to get pretty active here toward the last week of July here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But the tropical Atlantic, the North Atlantic Basin, is likely to remain kind of average or so as we go into that third, even fourth week here of July. So a little bit of a respite from what was actually a very quick start to the hurricane season in the North Atlantic. Now, going across the United States tomorrow, showers and storms, mainly those garden variety storms. Sure, you could have a heavy downpour, maybe a pea-sized hailstone or two, maybe a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust, but I think the most part, severe weather is at bay as we go into Thursday. Friday, there's no severe weather outlooked by the Storm Prediction Center on their day 3 outlook for Friday. anywhere across the United States. So that's some good news. Now let's talk heat. I know you guys don't like to talk about the heat, but it is weather, so we have to do that. So as we go into the afternoon today, look at that big ridge of high pressure over here. It's been sitting over the desert Southwest over the past several days. It continues to do so. Look at all the widespread heat headlines across the West. Excessive heat warnings in the pinks. Oranges are heat advisories, and some of those actually extend up the mid-Atlantic and New England coast as well, all the way down into the coastal Carolinas, east coast of Florida, southeast Texas. A lot of heat headlines all across the United States, and this is why this afternoon our high temperatures out west again flirting with all-time record territory into Death Valley, into the desert Southwest. But even those triple digits, almost triple digits, like upper 90s up here in southern Alberta, southwestern Saskatchewan, heat index values. That's why we have those heat advisories, some excessive heat warnings across the mid-Atlantic, New England coast, down into the coastal Carolinas and southeast, because those triple digit heat index values could be pushing the 105, 110 Fahrenheit mark as we go into the afternoon. That continues as we go into Thursday. I think the ridge becomes a little bit more stronger as we go across the Rockies on Thursday, flexing its muscles further east as we go into Friday. So what you can expect is hotter temperatures starting to arrive across the Great Plains as we go really into tomorrow, and that continues as we go into Friday as well. So a very warm and hot end to the week, if you will. And as we go to the weekend, that ridge is going to migrate a little bit further away from the desert Southwest and kind of park itself over the Rockies in the Four Corners region. And what that's going to do is a lot of the lower 48 is going to be well above normal with their temperatures, even the southern Canadian prairies as well. And what that will mean is here's your highs for Saturday, a lot of 90s out there all across the lower 48, and that continues, even some triple digits in the mix even as we go into Sunday, July the 14th by mid-month. And we have to watch the northern and northeastern periphery of this ridge. We do this every summer. We have to watch this. We're going to have a lot of very strong winds in the jet stream over the southern Canadian prairies, and then off the northwest flow from the northern plains into the Midwest and Ohio Valley, Great Lakes region. And that is especially true early next week. Look at all the strong winds here in the jet stream. And with that, in conjunction to that, we actually have a lot of storm energy starting to build Saturday, Sunday, as we go into Monday and even into your Tuesday timeframe. So that 4-day period or so of some pretty strong, if not extreme, instability values to support some severe weather in this area. So we could have what we call an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, just some fancy wording for a line of storms that could produce some high winds, some hail, maybe isolated tornadoes at some point later this weekend, whether it's on Saturday or Sunday, or maybe even into early next week. That is still a possibility from somewhere into the Midwest, Great Lakes region, Ohio Valley. This is a very difficult weather pattern to predict, because it's so subtle. We have a very small shortwave trough, and it's actually very subtle of how thunderstorms develop here. We have a very strong cap across the plains, and you guys know what a cap is, right? You have a pot of boiling water, the lid's on it, the steam doesn't come out. You lift that pot of boiling water, the lid off of it a little bit, the steam starts to come out. That's the kind of atmosphere we see as we go into this weekend and early next week. So it's very difficult. One thunderstorm could actually grow upscale into a line, or one thunderstorm could develop and fall apart. That's just kind of what we're seeing here. So the potential is there this weekend into early next week for some significant severe weather, especially in this orange shaded color. Not everybody will see severe weather in this orange or yellow shaded color this weekend, but somewhere, especially here into the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley will likely experience some type of severe weather. And the AI model over here at the Colorado State Machine Learning severe weather probabilities actually are pretty similar to what my forecast is here on Saturday. Slight risk of severe weather somewhere up there into portions of the Midwest, into the Ohio Valley, larger area on Sunday and Monday. And then you can see that continuing Tuesday, Wednesday. So a several day period there on the northeastern periphery of that ridge. And you can see the operational European model here is showing a very active pattern there, very dry under the ridge, and then the northeastern periphery watching those big storms, and the ensembles are actually screaming that as well. So It's not just the operational models, it's the ensembles that are showing it. So that's why we are paying close attention. So what you can take away from the forecast today is Beryl is going to dump heavy rain across the Northeast, several more inches here as we go through the next 24 hours. A major heat wave will build across the United States further east toward the Mississippi River as we go into the weekend, and an active pattern for the weekend and early next week could lead to some severe weather. Some of that could be significant. We will keep you covered on that. If you did like today's weather forecast, give it a thumbs up down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel here at Weather on the Go. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Hopefully my flu goes away here over the next couple of days so I can get back to normal here. I'll keep doing videos for you regardless. Thank you all for watching, supporting. I appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Wednesday out there.